あの、今日はですね、
Hello everyone and welcome back to more Fruit of Grisaia. In the last episode, we learned that Sashi has a bit of a naughty side to her. Turns out she wants to play the maid to be a full-service maid to her master. We've corrupted her. I don't know if we can save her at this point. But with that, let's continue on. At my side, Sashi hesitantly begins to speak, but quickly falters to a stop. What should I not have asked? We still want to know what Sakaki's doing.
いや、別にまずいってことでもないんだけどね。
For once, even Machu has something of a restrained expression on her face.
今日、榊さんがいないのはあれよ。授業参観だから。
Her parents are visiting the school, even though it's a Sunday?
日曜だからよ。
What?
大名行列でいらっしゃるのよ。気まぐれでね。
Not following.
今回は電車で、そうですか。それで駅の方へいらっしゃって。はい。わかりました。では予定通りですね。はい。由美子さんは寮におりますので、学園にはいらっしゃらぬ。すみません。来客のようで。はい。はい。では30分後に。はい。どうぞ。
And here I was, thinking the job of a principal consisted solely of signing off on paperwork. Seems I was mistaken. I owe you an apology.
ただ電話してたってだけで仕事してるって思われるとか、本当にバカにされてるとしか思えないんだけど。
Anyway, there's something I need to ask you about.
まあいいわ。とりあえずマナーとしてドアぐらい閉めてくれないかしら。
Sorry, I apologize. After swinging the overly ornate door shut, I wander over to the espresso machine and pour out 2 cups of coffee. I set the cups down on the table, just a sort of dignified slab of wood you'd expect a raging giant monkey to fling dramatically through some window, then take my seat on the sofa.
自分の部屋並みに手慣れてきたわね。
The principal grumbles a bit at my confident movements, but nonetheless sits down across from me without being asked.
それで話っていうのは？
Amani told me there's a parent-teacher conference taking place today.
授業参観。ああ、なるほど。そういうことね。
I think you're aware, but it's the weekend. There are no classes for anyone to sit in on, and there shouldn't be any teachers here to have a conference with. Weird enough, but on top of it all, you're at the school for some reason.
休みの日なのにね。
Also, there was a clump of expensive jet black cars sticking out like a sore thumb around the station this afternoon. And finally,
最後に
I haven't seen Sakaki all day. I don't know much of anything about her background, but that aloof attitude makes me think her family environment is probably unusual. Judging from the way others reacted, all this seems to be connected. Am I on the right track? Am I on the right track?
そうさんたちは教えてくれなかったの？
It's a private matter after all. I didn't feel comfortable dragging it out of them, so I came over to get my story from a more official source.
そう。
The principal lets out a single sigh and stands up from the sofa. Opening a desk drawer, she takes out a brochure, then returns and drops it on the desk in front of me. It's the familiar Mihama Academy admissions pamphlet.
これ、あなたがここに来た当初見せたわよね。
Yeah, although I just flipped through it. Really. This sort of informational brochure is generally packed with thinly disguised advertising or obtuse legal disclaimers. Either way, it tends to involve a lot of flowery, empty phrases, not genuine facts and figures. I'm not twisted enough to find pleasure in picking out all the lies and half-truths I can find in this sort of thing. This pamphlet in particular was written about this truly bizarre academy of ours. I expect there's more lies than half-truths, and mostly pretty blatant ones at that.
そっか。 じゃあここもちゃんとは見ていないわよね。
Principal Tachibana flips the pamphlet open to the first page. Just as I'd expected, it's filled with a pseudo-poetical sentence describing the school and its mission in highly exaggerated terms. Is there something... The principal's pointing to the opposite page. On the upper half of the brochure, there's the words Principal Tachibana Chizuru, accompanied by a weirdly formal photo portrait. And then we have the chairman of the board of trustees, accompanied by a different name. Sakaki Michiaki. So this would be... Principal nods deeply.
そうよ。榊道明氏。偶然同じ名字なんてありえないわよね。榊さんの父親よ。今日視察にお見えになるの。
そろそろ時間ね。
榊道明氏についてあなたはどれぐらい知っているの？
As much as the next guy, no more. Haven't had any reason to look too deeply into him. Sakaki Michiaki is a name you'll find extremely frequently in the papers, magazines, and television news. The East Beach Express Group, owners of a rail network with a prominent line running along the east coast of the Kanto region. As his powerful corporate body president, it's only natural that he's referenced in the media on a regular basis. On the surface, he's the head of one of the leading Japanese business conglomerates and the extravagant multimillionaire. And behind the scenes, he's a heartless tyrant, ruthlessly wielding brute force to perpetrate the aggressive expansion of his company's rail network. He doesn't hesitate to shatter the lives of those who stand in his way. In particular, there's a lot of talk about his borderline fraudulent tactics in acquiring land, apparently a legacy of the previous president. Under his leadership, the group has earned a friendly nickname, Eager Bandit Express. I'm not really particularly interested in that sort of gossip. The fact that I know his name anyway is a decent indication of just how much of an infamous celebrity this man is. Well, that's about the extent of my knowledge. I hope this is the part where you tell me I've gotten the wrong idea about the guy.
マスコミの作り上げた虚像ではなく、本当の彼は好人物でとかね。フィクションならよくある話だけど、残念ながらそれはないわ。
Principal takes a brief sip of her coffee. The man's heart is as black as the coal used to fuel the trains.
その噂通りの彼が時々気まぐれで娘のいるこの学園に視察ということでやってくるの。表面上は娘に会いに来てるってことになってるんだけど。
That's not the case.
会った試しがないわ。これまでに3回彼はここを訪問しているけどね。彼女、榊さんの方から会うのを拒絶しているのよ。
There a reason for that?
それを話すには前にも言ったこの学園のできた経緯から話さないといけないわ。そもそもいけない。そろそろいらっしゃるわ。
I'm just stopping the alarm and the principal glances back at me.
今の話また後ででもできるけど聞きたい。
No, I don't think that's a good idea. The man comes all the way out here to visit his daughter's school, and then leaves without meeting her? From that behavior, it's pretty clear the story of Mihama Academy's founding is directly connected to Sakaki's past and family circumstances, even if the principal doesn't spell it out for me. I don't think it would be right for her to hear anything more than this from a third party. You know, I'm sure it involves those complex reasons she has for being here that you were hesitant to talk about last time. That would mean that you'd have to tell me things my classmates want to keep to herself. And if you left the sensitive parts out, I'd end up with half an unpleasant story, which is just as bad.
そう。意外にクラスメート思いなのね。
No, I'm just looking to avoid making my life more complicated than it needs to be. I stand up from the couch and begin to move towards the door.
榊さん、今日は多分寮の屋上にいると思うわ。
Before I can make my exit, the principal's words bring me to a halt.
さっきも言った通り、父親には会おうとしないのは彼女の方なんだけど、部屋にこもりきりで出てこなかったり、その時間だけ外に出ているというわけじゃないの。父親の来るときは決まって寮の屋上から下を見下ろして通り一遍の視察をする父親の姿を見ているわ。
And you're telling me this, why?
他の誰も彼女のケアはしてあげられないのよ。あの通りの子だし、他の子たちも近づきにくいし、特に父親の来るときはピリピリしていて近寄りがたいから。その点、あなたは最近榊さんとも交流があるみたいだし。
I don't know where you got your information, but it must be a pretty shaky source. I'm not any closer to Sakaki than any of the others are. If anything, it's the opposite.
そうなの。あなただったら少しは榊さんのケアもしてあげられるかと思ったんだけど。
Act on the basis of wishful thinking, you'll never get anything done. More importantly, don't you have a VIP to roll out the red carpet for? I'll be leaving now. I sort of sensed this in our previous conversation as well, but the principal seems to be expecting some sort of convenient chemical reaction between me and the other students. Yes, I'm putting in effort towards creating something like a student life for myself, which means trying to maintain a basic standard of communication with my classmates. But if that were to cross the line, if I were to push my way into their private lives, there's no way it would end well for anyone involved. After all, we're talking about people driven into something very close to an isolation facility. In the worst case scenario, prying could quite literally be a lethal mistake. If I ever get involved in their problems, it's only going to be when they reach out to me on their own initiative. Since Sakaki hasn't shown any initiative to do so, I'm not going to make the first move, and I'm convinced that's the correct policy. Damn it. The principal never gives me anything but trouble.
そろそろいらっしゃる頃よね。ひとまず寮の周りの掃除は一通り終わりましたが、いつもさっちゃんがやってるように綺麗にしてれば何も言われやしないわよ。
挨拶とかした方がいいの？
やめといた方がいいと思うよ。あまり人のお父さんを悪く言いたくはないけど、正直いい気分にはならないと思う。
あまねって由美子のお父さんに会ったことあるの？
うちのお父さん料理人じゃない？だからいろんなところと交流があってね。それでここに入る前に挨拶だけはしたんだけどさ。あまりいい気分にはならなかったんですね。なんかね、月並みな言い方だけど目が笑ってなかったんだよね、榊さんのお父さん。言葉だけは気持ち悪いぐらいに丁寧だったんだけど。
にしてもひどいよね。会社があるのかもしんないけど、わざわざ選んで休日にやってきて、しかもそのまま帰っちゃうんでしょ？
まあポーズでやってることだからね。
あまり好きじゃない大人の匂いがするのよさ。
だね。まあうちらに会いに来るわけじゃなし、たかだか1時間かそこらなんだからおとなしくしとこ。
そういや、ユージはどこ行ったの？さっき学園長のところに行くって言ったきり帰ってきてないけど。
そういや、どこ行ったのかな。
Showtime.
理事長、お久しぶりです。
ああ、前に都内でお会いしてから2ヶ月。いや、3ヶ月ぶりぐらいかな。
I expected a more sinister villain, like character. I didn't seem that bad.
今日はまたどういった理由でいらっしゃったのですか？
自分の建てた学園に来る理由がいちいち必要なのかね。
Never mind.
いえ、そんなわけでは。
一体の視察のついでだよ。厄介なものを押し付けたことへの償いとして、私自身がこうして現地を訪れないことには示しがつかんからな。
そうですか。
あまり時間もない。いつも通りのルートで進めてくれ。
一応視察のコースはこちらで決めていたのですが。
いつも通りのルートで結構。別の場所を見る必要はないし、時間を割くなどもってのほかだ。
はい。
では行こうか。
なんかこうちょっと扱いの面倒な発電所を押し付けられた感じなのよね。
ここの町にとっての学園がですか？
平時だったらどうということはないんだけど、仮に何かがあった場合、住んでる人の不安感ってのはそりゃすごいと思うわよ。
失礼よね、人をそんな扱いしちゃって。
でもそうされるような理由みんなにもあるじゃない。
それは
まあだからこそのこの視察なのよね。何も問題ないですよ、大丈夫ですよってアピールのために時々こうして大ボスがやってきて適当にうろうろして帰っていく。
カイワレやほうれん草を食べるのと同じなのよさ。
1996, Health Minister Naoto Kan ate a bowl of radish sprouts on live television to demonstrate confidence in their safety following an E. coli contamination scare. And he later died. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Pretty brave, though. There was someone who did that, what was it?
だよね。つかそうでもしないといつ学園の排斥運動とか起こってもおかしくないもん。
私たちやっぱり邪魔なんでしょうか？
そうじゃないって。だからこそみんな街では頑張っていい子にしてるんだし。
True.
こうやでもまあ一番辛いのは榊さんよね、やっぱり。
Well, that makes sense.
そうですよね。校舎から出てきたわね。
Oh, look at the leaves blowing. That's nice. As soon as I opened the door to the rooftop, I met with a piercing glare. Much like the last time we met here, Sakaki is standing straight as an arrow near the edge of the roof, her hair dancing in the sea breeze. But unlike last time, there is undistinguished hostility in her eyes. Yo! Holding eye contact, I answer her sharp gaze with a light greeting. She's clearly on her guard, so I stop my approach with a good distance still separating us.
前と同じ理由かしら？
What are you talking about?
ここに来た理由よ。偶然なのかどうか聞かせて。
The reason I'm here, of course, is that I was slightly worried about a certain woman I knew to be brooding all by herself. So much for not making the first move. Thanks to that meddlesome principal's unsolicited tip, I knew Sakaki's location, and having been handed that information, the idea of leaving her up here alone started to feel strangely unpleasant. Of course, if I told Sakaki the plain truth in the situation, there's no doubt she'd aggressively reject my concern. Coincidence, of course. I did hear today was a slightly special day, though. So instead, I offer up a vague mixture of lies and truth. The ball's in Sakaki's court now. What's she gonna do with it? What is she going to do with it? We're gonna find out next time on The Fruit of Grisaia. Take it easy, everybody.